heart to learning, open up my heart to love. Help me to know myself and how I should learn. I open up to learning, I open up to joy. Help me to learn a language and let it be my happiness.
Hi everyone, welcome again to another podcast from Teacher Joseph. Today we are going to look at the lyrics of a song to help you with your English. It's a rather funny song from the 1970s and it's called Melting Pot by a group called Blue Mink. And it really was a product of its generation. It's all about peace and love and how we all should be living happily together in society. That's why it's called Melting Pot. Imagine a big pot where everyone is melted in to become the same. Let's go over and listen to Blue Mink singing Melting Pot. And we'll be stopping at different parts to discuss the lyrics.
Take a pinch of white man, wrap it up in black skin, add a touch of blue blood, and a little bitty bit of red Indian boy.
Curly, black, and kinkies mixed with yellow chinkies. If you lump it all together, well, you got a recipe for a get-along scene.
Oh, what a beautiful dream.
If it could only come.
Right, there we are. That was a little bit of Melting Pot by Blue Mink. Now we're going to go back there in a second, but we just want to discuss what they said. So first of all, the woman said, take a pinch of white man, wrap it up in black skin, add a touch of blue blood, and a little bit, tiny bit of red Indian boy. Now, blue blood is how we refer to our royals. If someone has blue blood, we say they're one of our royal family. So that's generally how we refer to our royals, the blue-blooded people. Why we do that, I've no idea. But yes, it's something we say. And we often joke amongst ourselves, oh, that person must have a bit of blue blood, speaking the way they do. So take a pinch of white man, little pinch of white man, wrap it up in black skin, add a touch of blue blood, add a little tiny bit, a little bitty bit of red Indian boy. And then the man says, curly Latin kinkies. That just means curly bits of hair. You know, Latin people have tight curly hair, mixed with yellow chinkies. Now, that's a word in English culture we're encouraged not to say anymore because it sounds a bit racist. Up until a few years ago, maybe even today, some people say, oh, I'm going to have a chinky. I'm going to have a Chinese meal, a chinky. And some people may refer to Chinese people as chinkies, but these days that's considered very racist. And that's why this song is no longer allowed to be played on our national radio or television because it's considered racist. Now, then the man goes on to say, well, if you lump it all together, if you put it all together, and he's going on to say, well, you've got a recipe for a get-along scene. That means a scene, imagine like a TV scene or a theatre scene where everyone gets along, a get-along scene. And the next line he says, oh, what a beautiful dream, if only it could come true. Now, that man that's singing actually helped to write this song, and I think it's very dated now, but I can see what he's trying to say. He's trying to say we all should live in harmony, which is a lovely idea. And they're going to sing the chorus now. They're going to say, well, what we need is a great big melting pot, big enough to take the world and all it's got, keep it stirring for 100 years or more, and turn out or produce coffee-colored people by the score. Now, of course, the idea of producing coffee-colored people is these days also very racist. But for the time, it was a lovely song, and it's such a pity that it's no longer allowed to be played. Let's go back and listen to Madeleine and Roger, Melting Pot, telling us how what we need is a great big melting pot. So let's have another listen.
You know, what we need is a great big melting pot. I'm big enough to take the world and all it's got. Keep it stirring for 100 years or more. And turn out coffee-colored people by the score. Yellow bitty ground, rabbis and the friars, bishops and the gurus. You got the Beatles or the sun god. Well, it really doesn't matter what religion you choose. No, no, no. Mick and Lady Faithful. Oh, 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 oh. The Mrs. Graceful. Ah, you know the living could be tasteful. Ah, we should all get together in a loving machine. I'd better call up the queen. It's only fair that she knows, you know.
Right, so they were telling us that we all should be in this great big melting pot, and that this pot should be stirred for 100 years or more to turn out coffee-colored people by the score. Now, just as he entered the next verse, you may have heard this man just calling out the name. He said, "Oh, Billy Graham," is what he said. And he's referring there to a 20th century figure. We had a very famous Christian pastor or preacher called Billy Graham in the 20th century, who was encouraging us all to be more fervent or strong with our religious belief. Now, they go on, these two singers, to say rabbis and the friars. So the rabbi is the man in charge of the Jewish religion. The friar is the Catholic monk. Bishops and the gurus, well, the bishop, of course, is the leader of one of the Christian churches, maybe more. And the gurus, referring there to the Eastern religions, such as Hinduism. It says here, you've got the Beatles or the sun god. So they're referring here to different things that people like. And then finally, the woman says, well, it really doesn't matter what religion you choose. Now, the next part, it's really interesting because it begins with some reference to Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull, who were, of course, a very famous couple in the 1960s. The 60s, of course, were a time of great change, and they were a liberated couple, a new type of couple in the UK, because before that time, of course, people were very conservative. So this song is invoking them. It says, Mick and Lady Faithful. So that's Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull. And then the next line, it goes on to say, let me just double check here. Yeah, Lord and Mrs. Graceful. And that, of course, is a satire. It's referring to our aristocracy, you know, when you have Lord this and Lady that. So that's what that's referring to. And then it's reminding all of us, you know, the living could be tasteful. The living could be good. It could be tasteful. And finally, in the last part, he tells us we should all get together in a loving machine. Now, it's just a metaphor for how we all should respect and love each other as one. And in the next part, which is coming up, they're going to tell us, you know, it's better that we should call up the Queen. It's only fair that she knows what's happening, you know. And then they repeat the chorus, which of course is the very same thing. What we need is a great big melting pot to put the world in and all it's got, and to turn out coffee-colored people by the score. And of course, score in English is a certain number. A dozen is 12, and I'm sure you know what a score is. How many is a score? Well, I'll leave you to check on that one, but let's go back to Blue Mink so they can teach us these wonderful words.
What we need is a great big melting pot, big enough to take the world and all it's got, and keep it stirring for 100 years or more, and turn out coffee-colored people by the score. Yeah, what we need is a great big melting pot, big enough to take the world and all it's got, and keep it stirring for 100 years or more, and turn out coffee-colored people by the score. Yeah, what we need is a great big melting pot, big enough to take the world and all it's got, keep it stirring for 100 years or more, and turn out coffee-colored people